So my daddy did not serve in the military. My uncle was a Marine. My other uncle fought in World War II in France. My brother was in the Air Force. He served 3 years. I served 4.5. It was a great time. When I left, I said, you know, guys, I have enjoyed meeting every one of you, and I really meant it. I said, but you know, there's not a one of you I couldn't stayed home and enjoyed it. And now you feel that way, you know. But, oh yeah, there's that camaraderie in knowing it. I served my time. When my wife and I got married, I'd been a Baptist and she'd been a Methodist. So we compromised and I became a Methodist. And we came here and been here ever since. This will be working on my 36th year in this church. I serve on the Craftsman, have been previous time, I've been chairman of the trustees. I've served on the trustees, taught in Sunday school class. And I was on the building committee on the fellowship hall and all that. When you were in college, you got deferment because you were drafted through your local draft board. And they always took the oldest first because they could have the younger ones a longer time. So having all those deferments, I got out of law school in '64, practiced for 2 years and got drafted. And so, and getting drafted means you get drafted like everybody else because lawyers at that time you didn't get a direct commission. If you were a veterinarian, you got a direct commission. If you doctors, pharmacists, things like that. Veterinarians became, I'm giving you a little background, became meat inspectors basically when they were in the service. But anyway, so I got it, and I got drafted and went down to Ponce de Leon in Atlanta, and from there they gave me my transportation, all expenses paid, to Fort Benning, Georgia for basic training at age 26. And so I went there, went through basic, then went to Fort Eustis, Virginia as a legal clerk. And that was interesting because I was a legal clerk and I had more experience than the guys I was representing, working for, which was great. I'm going to be honest with you. In basic training, there was not a lot of discussion about God. It was a lot of discussion about survival. Because at that time, what we were trying to learn was combat tactics, survival techniques, and facing your enemy. And so where God comes in, that is your personal relationship, and knowing that no matter what happens to you, that relationship is safe. It is secure. So, nobody wants to die, but if you die in the service of your country, I don't think there's any greater service you can perform, because everybody is very loyal to each other. The big issue back then was when you got drafted, it never occurred to me that I would not go. It never occurred to me that I would stay home, that I would leave. It just, my generation, that did not occur. I'd had benefit of going to getting education. I had benefit of getting deferments. So if it was my time, it was my time. So when you're sworn in, they say take a step forward. Who's going to take a step backward? Literally, you took a step forward and raised your hand. So where I'm coming from is at age 26, I ended up getting drafted, going through basic, and then ended up filing an application, become a lawyer in the service. I did that, but it was a commitment for 4 years, whereas drafting is 2. So I ended up spending 4.5 years. So one day at Fort Eustis, Virginia, I went from a PFC to a second lieutenant and came on active duty as a captain. So the guy that I was saluting before saluted me when I left. But anyway, and I say all that to say that I have, as a result of that experience of 4.5 years, a better understanding of commitment. So my generation, we are very, very loyal pretty much to the country. Right or wrong, we see it, but it would never occur to us not to show up and volunteer. And how does that impact your community? Same way, you're serving your community when you serve your country.
I think a beautiful definition of community is what you just gave, which is what can we do for each other? How did you see that lived out in the Army?
You learn right away when you're in their service that you are responsible to the fellow next to you. It's not just you. You work as a unit, you work together for the purpose. And you realize that you lose that individuality. And you feel more loyal to your company, to your squad. It's just, you're one of a group with a purpose, and the purpose is to serve your country in a time of need. That's all there is to it.
Has your interaction with a community in the military shaped your community at church?
Oh, yes. In the military, you learn right away that there are those who are superior to you in some fashion. There's always somebody with a greater rank. And you learn to work as a group and react to that person who is in charge. You may disagree, but you do what that person in charge asks you to do. If they ask your opinion, that's good. But if you have a squad and you have a squad of 8 or 9 guys, they don't act independently. They do what the squad leader says you will do. And you learn that, you should learn that in the church too, that you can have your opinion, but to work as a group, to work as a body, because if you do not, you're not a very good witness to those in the community, and they see how dysfunctional you are. If you're a dysfunctional family or a dysfunctional church, you're not going to be successful. If you're a dysfunctional country, you're not going to be successful. You're going to be in turmoil. And we're in a lot of turmoil now, and we just need to take a deep breath, step back, and hope we're unified. You know, I keep picturing when the Israelites were leaving Egypt, and Moses went up on the mountain to talk with God. And he came back down, and the Israelites had been given so much, given their freedom, but they couldn't handle it. It was all about individual. I didn't expect this. I think we need to do this. And what did they do? They started turning into idols. In a lot of ways, our country's in idols right now. We're just not focused. And I don't know what's going to do to get us focused. But we're no different from the Old Testament Israelites.
I love that story. And did you ever find yourself, like Moses, stepping away to focus on your faith when you were surrounded by that group in the military?
You know, if everybody's very truthful about this, and if they go into, which I never had to go into combat, but when you're in a situation like that, you individually get real close to God, because what you do is life or death. And I tell people, I said, I'm not afraid of death. I'm really not. It's the process. I said, but I got a lot of people I want to see. I miss them. I miss them dearly. And that's just not relatives, that's friends that you have encountered in your life that has been so much. And you can look back and see them. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to have served my country.
It sounds like you cultivated a good community while you were serving your country. How did you carry that community forward?
Well, when I got out of the service and commenced my life again, and I don't know if I mentioned or not, but those 2 years that I was practiced law before going to service, I was married. So, and they had a situation then that if you had a child, then you were deferred. Well, I didn't have a child. It was 3 years. Actually, I was sworn in the military in 1966 on June the 24th. My baby girl was born on June the 7th, 1967. June the 6th, 1967. So my baby girl is 54 years old now. No, me. Time flies. Time flies. Anyway, I feel like that anybody that served in the military feels a commitment to their community when they get out.